according to a new poll from YouGov, which is a serious polling site, or they were before this, I am more popular than the President of the United States. The guy who keeps saying I have no ratings, well, that makes two of us. They polled more than 1,000 people, and I lead Trump by 16 points. I'm at +3, he's at -13.
Oh, Jim, you tickle my little pickle. Oh! Before we get to Jim Kimmel and his aspirations to not only be nominated, but to also win the upcoming 3rd annual Huge Embarrassing Failure Awards, let me just explain something real quick. There is not a doubt in my mind that Jim Kimmel is more liked than Don Trump. I'm sure YouGov polled 1,000 unemployed wanker spankers. I'm sure they polled 1,000 men who spend their weekends trying on sports bras. There's not a doubt in my mind that in that particular group, Jim Kimmel is significantly more popular than Don Trump. But here's the thing. I look at the president the same way I look at a football coach or anyone else in a position of leadership. I don't need Don Trump to be liked. I don't need him inviting deacons at Woke United Methodist to dinner. I don't need AOC, LGBT, or Jazz Crockett talking about their passionate attraction to his toxic masculinity. I don't give a damn whether they love or hate Donald Trump. And to be honest with you, I don't think he cares either. I think he enjoys it. I think he takes pleasure in watching those inflicted with stage 4 OMB, or bad, having severe allergic reactions. I think he enjoys watching their emotional meltdowns. What I want the president to do is command respect. Respect for the law, respect for the military, respect for the country. I want these domestic terrorists and Antifa to be living in fear. So far, I think the Trumper is doing an admirable job. So who really gives a damn if he's not as popular as Jim Kimmel? And looking at these recent ratings, I wouldn't exactly claim that Jim Kimmel is popular either. Couple of weeks ago, when Jim Kimmel made his immaculate return to his late night dump, the media claimed that his return episode drew 6.2 million viewers. Now, like I told you guys at the time, Uncle Casey's having a hard time believing that number, mainly because affiliates in major markets across the country were refusing to broadcast his toxic mouth farts. Well, Casey, this number is real. Why would the media lie to us about it? Why would the media lie? Oh, I don't know. Why would the media lie about the illusion of Russian collusion? Why would the media lie and claim that ICE is racially profiling? Why did the media spend the better part of 4 years claiming that John Biden was the modern-day Confucius? Lying is what the media does. It's in their nature. A couple of years ago, my mom stuck her hand in my uncle and aunt's dog's mouth. When he bit her hand, my mom screamed and said, "Why did he bite me?" You stuck your hand in his mouth. If you stick your hand in my mouth, I will probably bite you too. And if you read and watch the media, you can expect that you're being lied to. According to the media, Jim Kimmel drew 6.2 million viewers for his immaculate return. But as expected, the vast majority of those 6.2 million people, they are nowhere to be found because Jim Kimmel made the one mistake that he couldn't make. Jim Kimmel was presented with an opportunity and he refused to take advantage of it. Make sure to like and subscribe. You can follow me on Twitter at KC_BTL84. So I can get to the sponsor for today's video, my good friends at Left Coast Lighting. When it comes to aftermarket lighting, not all LEDs are created equal, which is why serious drivers choose diode dynamics from Left Coast Lighting. Their patented total internal reflection optics deliver a sharp focused beam with no glare. LEDs from diode dynamics are waterproof, shockproof. They are tested in extreme environments and they're made to survive conditions whether on or off road. To me, the best part is the simplicity. Whether you're looking for fog lights, headlights, doesn't matter. LEDs from Diode Dynamics are easy to install. The LEDs are plug and play. There's no cutting or rewiring. Installation, quick and easy. Also comes with an industry-leading 3-year warranty and lifetime support. If you want lighting that's brighter, tougher, smarter, click the link in the description below. Use my promo code BTL10, BTL10. Save 10% off your first purchase with Left Coast Lighting. Jim Kimmel made his return on September 23rd. Last week, he was filming his show in New York City. There was a picture that he posted on Instagram of Jim Kimmel along with his bestie, Stevie Colbert, and some unknown dork who I initially thought was the lead librarian at the New York Public Library. My inside sources later confirmed that the third doofus in this trio of huge embarrassing failures was Sean Squires. What, KC, don't you mean Seth Meyers? No, I mean Sean Squires, the failure that comes on NBC after Jim Fallon. And speaking of Jimmy Fallon, I noticed that he was missing in this reunion of failures. Jim Kimmel spent the entire week in New York City. I did not see one interaction between him and Jimmy Fallon. I wonder why. I wonder if it has anything to do with Jimmy Fallon wanting to distance himself from politics. I wonder if it's got anything to do with Jimmy Fallon wanting to distance himself from embarrassing failure. Last Thursday, Jim Kimmel drew 1.9 million viewers, a decline of 71% compared to his immaculate return, and just barely over the 1.7 million that he was averaging before he was temporarily fired. In the 25 to 54 demo, which is the primary demographic for political programs, but KC, Jim Kimmel is a late-night comedy show. Well, someone should tell Jim that because he has clearly missed the memo. I have been covering his late night dump for years. I've never even heard him tell a joke. Every episode is the same. 15-minute monologue where Jim displays his unhealthy obsession with the Orange Man. He interviews an unknown guest that no one's ever heard of. He asks he or she, they or them, why he can't seem to get the attention of the object of his desire. Sometimes Jim will feature a musical guest or a band on the show performing his favorite song. I love you, you love me, how come no one is watching? My ratings suck and my audience disappeared. My wife has a lovely beard. Anyway, in the 25 to 54 demo, the primary demographic for late night programming, in the key demo, Jim Kimmel has lost 85% of his audience. 1.7 million people tuned in for his immaculate return. A week or so later, Jim Kimmel had that number down to a cool 265,000. Like his bestie, Stevie Colbert, Jim Kimmel is on borrowed time. By this time next year, Stevie and Jimmy are likely to be off TV. Well, Stevie Colbert will definitely be off TV. CBS is under new ownership, and there is absolutely no way Stephen Colbert's getting his job back. And Jim Kimmel, he will be fired because he's already losing millions of dollars every year. But the difference between Stephen Colbert and Jim Kimmel, Jim was presented with an opportunity to save his career, an opportunity that will not present itself again. During his immaculate return, all Jim Kimmel had to do was apologize. All he had to say was, I was wrong. I was wrong for insinuating that the dork that killed Charlie Kirk was a Trump supporter. Since 2016, I've been wrong for presenting one of the most boring late night shows on television. I'm wrong for having an unhealthy obsession with the Trumper. I'm wrong for alienating over half the country by banning conservative guests from my show. Going forward, things are going to be different. That's all Jim Kimmel had to say. And maybe, just maybe, normal people would have been willing to give him another chance. You know, there are certain key moments in everyone's life where opportunity presents itself. That happens very often. For you, maybe it's weighing a new job opportunity. Maybe it's deciding whether to take the job or staying at your current job where you're most comfortable. For me, it was quitting my job to pursue YouTube full time. When I quit my job in June of 2021, channel had around 2,000 subscribers. During the month of June of that year, channel only generated $300 in revenue. Obviously, that is not enough to live on, not enough to survive. But I could feel the momentum building. I could feel things changing. I knew it was a risk. I knew I was risking a stable career for the unknown, but I also knew if I didn't seize the opportunity that YouTube was presenting, I would regret it for the rest of my life. Jim Kimmel had a similar opportunity. The difference, though, Jim Kimmel wasn't willing to take the risk. He wasn't willing to risk pissing off deacons at Woke United Methodist. He wasn't willing to risk pissing off the radicals in the Democratic Party. He was not willing to change to make his late night dump appealing to normal people. Jim Kimmel chose to remain comfortable. He chose to remain complacent. And more than likely, it's going to cost Jim Kimmel his career. Sound off in the comments below. I'll see you guys tomorrow.